So this is where $40,000 buys you. My wife in my cousin's arms, I said, my voice slicing through the restaurant's applause. I stood frozen at the entrance of Giorgio's, clutching a bouquet of lilies, Sam's favorites, as waiters applauded the happy couple. My wife Samantha, who had texted me 30 minutes ago about her critical business dinner, was locked in a passionate kiss with my cousin David. Their champagne glasses clinked while my wedding ring felt suddenly heavy on my finger. "Robert," Sam gasped, her face draining of color as she released David's hand. I approached their table, my legs somehow carrying me forward while my mind screamed to run. The diners around us froze mid-conversation, sensing the unfolding drama. David stared at the floor, unable to meet my eyes. I set the lilies down between them. "Looks like I'm interrupting something." My voice sounded foreign to my own ears, too calm, too controlled. "You told me you were meeting the Andersons tonight." "I can explain," she stammered, mascara already smudging as tears formed. "Please don't," I said, pouring champagne into their glasses while surrounding diners watched in uncomfortable silence. "Let's celebrate properly. To new beginnings and $40,000. David finally found his voice. "Rob, man, this isn't what it looks like." I finished for him, my smile tight. "It rarely is, right?" I pulled out my phone, opened the banking app, and as they watched, transferred the business loan money I'd secured yesterday, $40,000 for Sam's boutique expansion, back to my personal account. "Consider that my engagement present." Sam lunged for my phone. "What are you doing?" "That's for the business." I pocketed my phone and leaned close to her ear. "What business?" "The one where you fuck my family behind my back." The restaurant manager appeared beside us. "Sir, I'm going to have to ask." "I'm leaving," I said, backing away from the table. "Congratulations again. The family will be thrilled to hear about this at Sunday dinner." I walked out, ignoring Sam's calls behind me. In my car, I sat gripping the steering wheel, knuckles white, wondering where to go when home no longer existed. My phone buzzed with messages. Not from Sam, from Emily, my sister. "What's happening?" "David's wife is calling me hysterical." "Something about Sam?" I started the car. The night wasn't over. Not by a long shot. "You need to delete those texts," Emily said, pacing my hotel room. "If his wife sees them, she should see them," I replied, watching as notifications from Sam flooded my phone. 15 missed calls. 23 messages. Everyone should. It was 3 a.m. I checked into the Marriott downtown after driving aimlessly for hours. Emily had shown up with whiskey and her signature no-bullshit attitude, the only family member I trusted right now. "Did you know?" I asked, meeting her eyes. She stopped pacing. "No. God, no, Rob. I'd have told you instantly." I believed her. Emily and I had survived our parents' bitter divorce by forming an unbreakable alliance. She wouldn't betray me. 3 months, I said, scrolling through the messages I'd recovered from Sam's cloud backup. They've been planning this for 3 months. The loan was the final piece. The $40,000 came from my savings, money I'd been putting aside for years. Sam had insisted the boutique expansion would double our income. I'd visited 3 banks before finding one that would approve a business loan with me as guarantor. She was never going to pay it back, I said, tossing my phone aside. They were going to take the money and disappear after bankrupting the business. Emily sat beside me, squeezing my shoulder. "What are you going to do?" I took the hotel notepad and wrote down 3 names. First, I'm calling Mark, my lawyer friend from college. Then I'm calling her business partner Zoe, who apparently has no idea about the expansion. I underlined the 3rd name. And then I'm calling Uncle Peter, David's father, my godfather, the man who'd taught me to fish, to change a tire, to be honest even when it hurt. Emily winced. "That's going to destroy him." "I'm not the one who did the destroying." I reached for the bottle, and I've got the recordings to prove it. Sam's voice filled my car as I parked in front of her boutique. "After we get the loan, we'll need about a month to transfer everything. Rob doesn't check the business accounts." "No, I'll handle the divorce after we're in Vancouver." I'd installed a voice-activated recorder in her car 3 days ago, after finding the champagne receipt from a hotel on her credit card statement. Not an immediate smoking gun. It could have been for a client, but enough to trigger my journalist instincts. Now I had hours of conversations between her and David, planning their escape with my money. The boutique was closed on Mondays, but Zoe had agreed to meet me. She was waiting inside, confusion written across her face. We'd always gotten along well. She was Sam's college roommate who'd invested her inheritance to start their clothing store 5 years ago. "What's this emergency meeting about?" she asked as I set up my laptop. "And why isn't Sam here?" I played the recordings. Zoe's expression transformed from confusion to shock to fury. "That bitch," she whispered when I stopped the playback. "There is no expansion plan. We discussed renovating the storefront, but nothing that would require $40,000. She forged your signature on these," I said, sliding across the loan application papers. "The bank approved it based on projected earnings she fabricated." Zoe studied the documents, her hands shaking. "This is fraud. We could both go to jail." "Not both of you," I said. "Just Sam. If you help me." She looked up, eyes hardening. "What do you need me to do?" I slid the recorder across the table. "Call her. Ask about the expansion money. Act normal." As Zoe dialed, I felt a strange calm settle over me. The past 72 hours had burned away everything but clarity. Sam had betrayed not just me, but everyone who trusted her. "Hey, it's me," Zoe said brightly. "Just wondering when that loan money is coming through. I want to start calling contractors." "Oh, you got it already? That's fantastic." Her eyes locked with mine as Sam lied fluently on the other end. "Great. Can you transfer my half to the business account today?" "Perfect." "Oh, and did you talk to that supplier in Milan?" She kept Sam talking for 5 minutes, extracting details about non-existent business plans. When she hung up, she handed me back the recorder, her expression grim. "I'm in. What's next?" I smiled for the first time in days. "Next, we follow the money." Sam called 22 more times before showing up at Emily's apartment where I was staying. I watched through the peephole as she pounded on the door, makeup perfect, wearing the red dress I'd bought her for our anniversary. "I know you're in there, Robert. We need to talk." I opened the door but blocked the entrance. "About what? Your engagement or our divorce?" She flinched but recovered quickly. It wasn't what it looked like. David and I were role-playing for an engagement party we're planning for his friend. The waiter misunderstood. The lie was so absurd I almost laughed. "Is that why you've been meeting him at the airport Hyatt every Thursday for the past month? For party planning?" Her composure slipped. "You've been spying on me?" "No, I've been investigating you. It's what journalists do when they find evidence of fraud." "Fraud?" Her voice rose an octave. "What are you talking about?" I leaned against the doorframe. "The loan, Sam. The forged documents. The offshore account you opened last month." She paled. "How did you? You used our home computer to set it up. Didn't clear the browser history." Her strategy shifted instantly. Tears filled her eyes as she reached for my hand. "Baby, I was scared. I thought you were cheating on me with that intern at your office. I was just protecting myself. By sleeping with my cousin and planning to steal my money?" I pulled my hand away. "You'll be hearing from my lawyer tomorrow. I suggest you get one too." "You can't prove anything," she snapped, the tears vanishing. I smiled. "Actually, I can prove everything. And so can Zoe." At the mention of her business partner, real fear flashed in her eyes. "What does Zoe have to do with this?" "She has access to all the business accounts you've been siphoning money from. And she's really not happy about it." Sam stepped back. "You're bluffing. Check your boutique's bank account," I suggested. "Those emergency fund transfers you made last week? They've been frozen pending a fraud investigation." She grabbed her phone, fingers frantically tapping. As she saw the account balance, her face contorted with rage. "You son of a bitch. You'll regret this." "Maybe," I said, "but not as much as you're going to regret Sunday dinner." The brown leather box sat on my lap as I drove to my uncle's house. Inside was every piece of evidence: bank statements, hotel receipts, transcripts of recordings, screenshots of text messages. A complete chronicle of betrayal, meticulously organized. The Sunday family dinner was a tradition going back decades. Missing it without a death certificate was unthinkable. I hadn't told anyone I was coming except Emily, who was already there, running interference to ensure both Sam and David showed up. My hands tightened on the wheel. 3 days ago, I'd wanted blood. I'd fantasized about exposing them in front of everyone, watching their lives implode as mine had. But after meeting with Mark the lawyer, after securing my finances and filing for divorce, after the initial shock had dulled to a persistent ache, I'd realized something important. This wasn't just about me. Uncle Peter had raised David alone after my aunt died. He treated me like a second son. The revelation would devastate him, and he didn't deserve that pain delivered as a public spectacle. I parked 2 blocks away and texted Emily. "Here. Is he alone?" Her reply came quickly. "Study." Everyone's in the kitchen. You have 10 minutes. The side door was unlocked as promised. I slipped into the house, the familiar smells of pot roast and apple pie making my throat tighten. Voices drifted from the kitchen, my extended family, including Sam's bright laugh. My feet carried me in the opposite direction, to the study where Uncle Peter did his accounting work. He looked up as I entered, surprise brightening his weathered face. "Rob, we thought you weren't coming. Sam said you were on assignment." I closed the door behind me. "I need to talk to you privately, Uncle Peter, before I see anyone else." He gestured to the chair across from his desk, concern replacing surprise. "What's wrong, son? You look terrible." I placed the leather box between us. "I need to show you something. And I'm sorry. God, I'm so sorry to be the one who has to show you." Uncle Peter absorbed each piece of evidence in silence, his expression growing more pained with each revelation. When I played the recording of Sam and David discussing their plan to disappear with the money, his shoulders sagged as if under an impossible weight. "Why are you showing me this first?" he finally asked, his voice rough. "Why not expose them to everyone?" "Because you don't deserve to be blindsided," I said simply. "You raised us to be better than this." He nodded, gathering the evidence and returning it to the box. "What do you want to happen now?" "I've already filed for divorce. The fraud allegations are being handled separately." I met his eyes. "But how we deal with this as a family, that should be your call. David is your son." Uncle Peter stood, straightening his shoulders. "Let's go to the kitchen." I hesitated. "Are you sure? We could handle this more privately." "No," he said firmly. "Some things need to be faced directly." He picked up the leather box. Together, we entered the kitchen where the family was gathered, conversation stopping abruptly as they noticed us. Sam froze, wineglass halfway to her lips. David, standing by the counter, took an involuntary step back. Emily moved to my side, a silent show of support. "Robert has brought something to my attention," Uncle Peter said, his voice steady despite the pain in his eyes. "Something that concerns this family's integrity." He placed the leather box on the kitchen table. "Dad," David's voice cracked. "What's going on?" Before Uncle Peter could answer, Sam launched her preemptive strike. "Robert's been acting crazy," she blurted out. "He's making wild accusations because he's jealous of David's promotion." "Interesting defense strategy," I said calmly. "Considering David told you he was getting fired next month. It's in the recordings." The color drained from both their faces. Uncle Peter opened the box. "I've reviewed everything. Bank statements, hotel receipts, text messages, recordings." He looked directly at his son. "Is there anything you want to say before I play these for everyone?" David looked desperately at Sam, who was backing toward the door. "I'm just going to get some air," she said weakly. "Sit down," Uncle Peter commanded, and to my surprise, she did. He turned back to David. "Well," my cousin's face crumpled. "Dad, I can explain." "You can't," I interrupted. "But you can stop lying. Right now. In front of everyone who trusted you." The room held its breath. At that moment, watching David struggle between another lie and the crushing weight of truth, I felt no satisfaction, only a profound sadness for what we'd all lost. "I'm sorry," David finally whispered. "We never meant for it to go this far." Sam leapt to her feet. "Shut up, David. They have nothing concrete." Uncle Peter silently pressed play on the recorder. Sam's voice filled the kitchen. "After we clean out the accounts, we'll disappear during the conference in Vancouver. I'll file for divorce from there, claiming emotional abandonment." My aunt gasped. Emily's husband muttered a curse. Sam lunged for the recorder, but Uncle Peter moved it out of reach. $40,000, I said into the horrified silence that followed. "That's what our marriage was worth to you, Sam. That's what his relationship with his father was worth to you, David." I looked around at my family. "I'm filing for divorce. The fraud charges are being handled separately." "Fraud," my aunt echoed. "Sam forged her business partner's signature on loan documents," Emily explained. "Zoe's filed a police report." Sam's face contorted with fury. "You set me up." "No," I said quietly. "I just uncovered what you were already doing." Uncle Peter closed the box and stood. "David, Samantha, I think it's time for you to leave. The family needs to discuss how we're going to handle this situation." "Dad, please," David started. "Not now," Uncle Peter cut him off. "I need time to decide if I even want to speak to you again." Sam grabbed her purse. "This is ridiculous. You're all taking his side without hearing our explanation." "We heard your explanation," Emily said coldly. "On tape. Planning to steal from your husband and abandon your business partner. Sam turned to me, desperation replacing anger. Robert, we can work this out. It was a mistake. I was confused for 3 months. I shook my head. Goodbye, Sam. As they left, the kitchen remained silent. I felt hollow, emptied of both rage and sorrow. Uncle Peter's hand came to rest on my shoulder. I raised him better than this, he said softly. You did, I agreed. This isn't on you. He squeezed my shoulder once and addressed the family. Dinner's off for tonight, but we're still family, and we'll get through this together. As they dispersed, offering awkward condolences and support, Emily pulled me aside. You handled that with more grace than I would have, she said. I shrugged. Destroying them wouldn't have fixed anything. And yet, they're pretty effectively destroyed anyway. That was their doing, not mine. I looked around the kitchen, at the abandoned dinner preparations. I'm going to head out. Where will you go? Emily asked. I hadn't thought that far ahead. Home wasn't home anymore. The hotel felt temporary and depressing. I don't know, I admitted. Somewhere new, I guess. You could start with my guest room, she offered. Until you figure things out. Thanks, I said, meaning it. But I think I need to be alone tonight. Outside, the evening air felt cleaner somehow. My phone buzzed, a text from Sam. We need to talk. I can explain everything. I deleted it without responding and blocked her number. Then I did the same for David. The relief was immediate, like setting down a weight I hadn't realized I was carrying. I drove to the waterfront and sat watching the ferries cross the Sound, their lights bright against the darkening sky. Seattle had always been home, but maybe it was time for something new. I had job offers in Boston and Chicago. Nothing was holding me here anymore. My phone rang. Zoe from the boutique. The detective wants to meet tomorrow, she said without preamble. They've frozen all the accounts and have questions about the offshore transfers. I'll be there, I promised. How did it go with your family? I considered the question. It went the only way it could have. The truth came out. And what now? She asked. I watched a ferry pull away from the dock, heading toward distant islands. Now I start over, I said, surprising myself with the certainty in my voice. Somewhere new. Sounds healthy, Zoe said. I'd do the same in your position. After we hung up, I stayed by the water until the ferry stopped running. The path forward wasn't clear yet, but for the first time since walking into that restaurant, I felt something close to peace. Some betrayals can't be forgiven or forgotten, only survived. And I had survived. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.